And with that out of the way, we can go right into this second segment, hopefully with fewer coughs and sneezes, and talk about Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves winning this game. Already off to a great start with the coughs. But Timberwolves ended up stealing game one against the Denver Nuggets, which, like, it really shocked me. I did not expect Denver to lose in game one of this series. And especially with Denver playing at home, did not really expect this whatsoever. And it was really like this game, like the win, it was all because of Anthony Edwards. Throughout the entirety of the game, Ant was keeping the Timberwolves alive. It wasn't like he had a quick stretch on in one quarter and it amounted to this amount of points towards the end of the game. He was doing this consistently like throughout the entirety of this game. He was a monster at scoring the ball. 43 points, 12 for 29 from the field. No, 17 of 29 from the field, excuse me. 3 for 7 from 3, 6 for 6 from the line. And he also added 7 rebounds and 3 assists to that total, along with 2 blocks and a steal. So there's now Ant is getting a lot more attention now in the NBA, mainly because like after sweeping Phoenix and like with KD, Bradley Beal, and D-Book, and beating Denver in game one, he's been getting a lot of hype around Twitter, around all sorts of social media outlets. Like they're calling him the next MJ and like the next Kobe. Part of that is like, partly because Anthony Edwards looks like Michael Jordan. Like if you've seen that picture of the side by side with the faces, like they look really, really identical. And excuse me, but it's not only the fact that they look identical, it's the fact that their play styles are also rather similar. The Anthony Edwards, he relies a lot on like the mid-range shot, the post, and he has a 3-ball. He doesn't really use it that often. He is also known as a really good dunker, which was something that MJ was really good at, in case you guys don't know. And again, his post game and that post fadeaway, it was getting a lot of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan comparisons. And not say, obviously, like comparisons in like just play style alone, because there's no way that you can compare Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant to Anthony Edwards right now. It's just, there's no way that Ant can even match up to either of those two greats whatsoever. But, excuse me, depending on how his career goes, however, maybe we'll see that happen. And Ant is definitely, he's one of those. He's a very special athlete. He's honestly like he's an extremely likable athlete as well. He's competitive. He's what else is he? There's a lot of things that he does good that I just can't name off the top of my head. He's unselfish. That's another thing. He's also like he talks the talk. Again, I guess that might fall under the competitiveness. He has that. He has that dog in him. What else is he good at? And he's funny. That's another thing. Actually, in when I was held up in the meeting earlier, we started calling him, or somebody called him the happy Kobe Bryant, because all Anthony Edwards does is smile, and his play style is exactly like Kobe. His game is sort of like similar to Kobe. His build is similar to Kobe. His play style is similar to Kobe. And the one thing, work ethic as well, is also similar to Kobe. And the confidence as well, also similar to Kobe. The one difference, though, is that Kobe don't smile. I mean, he does, but like not as much as Anthony Edwards does, especially not on the court. Like I don't remember Kobe ever smiling on the court, like, in any given moment unless something funny actually happens. Like, he never smiles. In the game, he is fully locked in, Mamba mentality, all the way. And that sort of competitiveness and that attitude that he has. And another thing that is really overlooked, at least with a lot of other athletes, is how they treat their fans. And Anthony Edwards is one of the most, again, like I said, he's one of the most unselfish players in the NBA. He has that same mentality that Michael Jordan had, where he doesn't like sitting out in any games. Same with Kobe as well, who also didn't like sitting out in any games. If he's able to play, he's going to try to play, because there are fans in the stands there that literally bought the tickets, probably couldn't afford to buy any more tickets other than that one, just to watch him play. And if he's not out there, he feels like he's letting the fans down, and he's doing a disservice as an athlete. And that's a very, very overlooked aspect of athletes in the league right now, how they interact with the fans and how they treat the fans and how often they go to these games. Because it's like, with previously, like before the 65 game requirements making more players want to play more games, a lot of them would decide to load manage, and that would honestly kill the mood of any fan that was expecting to watch Kawhi, LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, James Harden, Paul George, all of those guys that like really like to load manage, Jimmy Butler as well. Like they all like to load manage, and they all like to sit out, but like the fans, they're missing out on one of the biggest reasons as to why they purchased their tickets. Excuse me. It's getting worse and worse. It's not even funny. But yeah, that's sort of my opinion on Anthony Edwards. He's a great guy, and at least from on the surface, again, I don't know him personally, so. And this series, it just really shows like how confident he is and like what he's really capable of, and how good this Minnesota team is in the matchups against the Nuggets. Now, Jokic, he ended the game with 32, 9, and 8, 9 assists and 8 rebounds, and 11 for 25 from the field. Now, the Timberwolves, they have a lot of big men. That means their rotations won't be as messed up when they have to focus on guarding Nikola Jokic, because Rudy Gobert can go ahead and play help, or Karl Anthony Towns can also play help, or Naz Reid can even play help. Like, they could play some kind of help defense that makes it a little bit difficult for Nikola Jokic to be able to thrive in the offense. And it's a similar strategy that the Lakers pulled in the bubble in 2020 when they were going up against Denver, having Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard in the same rotation and in the same lineup. And it ended up working. And they ended up getting they ended up losing the series. Well, the Nuggets, they ended up losing the series 4-1. And obviously, when you see like the matchup, like the playoffs are all about matchups. Like, that is the most important thing in the playoffs. It's all about matchups. And the Timberwolves, they have the right matchups for this Nuggets team. So there is a possibility that they could make it past this juggernaut of a team. However, it is only game 1, so I don't want to say that the series is already over, obviously, because that would just be super delusional if I were to say that the series is over. Excuse me. I cannot control the coughing, and it's really, really annoying. But Michael Porter Jr., he ended the game 6 of 13 from the field for 20 points. Jamal Murray ended the game 6 for 14 for 17 points. Aaron Gordon ended 4 for 6 from the field with 9 points. And the team shot 41% from 3. Like, it was really a good game from both teams. It's just Anthony Edwards was the driving force to will this team to get that win. And will it happen again? I mean, the likelihood of Anthony Edwards or anyone dropping back-to-back 40-point games, like how he's doing, it's very unlikely. So we'll see how game 2 is going to play out, because I don't think that if the I completely forgot what I was going to say because I thought I was going to sneeze. That's embarrassing. But I don't think that the Timberwolves could, like, they could definitely win this series, but I don't think they'll, like, immediately lose out the rest of the 4 games that they have, or, like, the rest of the 5 games, depending on how many games that they have. And I also, like, I see this, if Anthony Edwards doesn't drop as many points as he does in this game, they end up losing. So I have a slight feeling that this series might come down to Anthony Edwards and how often he's able to score and how often he's able to drop 40, similar to how the Knicks are with Jalen Brunson, where they need Brunson to drop 40 in order to really have a chance. I mean, granted, there were some like moments where he didn't have to drop 40, but it's like, you guys understand what I mean. You have to drop an absurd amount of points as the star player on the team, and you're expected to win in the series by doing so. And now that might put a lot of pressure on Ant. Granted, he's extremely confident, so he might not even feel that pressure. However, if the series is going to rely on him scoring, then it's like the rest of the players have to pick up the slack. I mean, Jaden McDaniels ended the game 0 for 7 from the field and with 0 points. And he was starting. And he played 39 minutes. Like, pick up the points. Pick up the pace. You were averaging... Well, he outplayed Kevin Durant in 1 game. And after that, he just... 0 points. Obviously, that wasn't helping the team, but a win is a win is a win, and they're going to take it. So that's basically, like, all I really have for... Actually, you know what? I can keep going. So... I mean, the story of the game was really, like, it was sort of back and forth. I mean, Denver did have a pretty nice lead, like a nice lead. I'm not saying it was like a huge lead, but just a nice lead. And then Anthony Edwards just started making shot after shot. And I'm like, this guy is really not missing. Like, this team, like, the Timberwolves are struggling, yet Ant is keeping them in the game single-handedly, it felt. Like, that same aura was why a lot of people think Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Because Michael Jordan, back then, he would will his team into these good playoff scenarios with his ridiculous scoring, similar to how Anthony Edwards is doing that here. So, with that, we are out of time for this second segment. So now we'll be going into the third segment where I talk about the Cavs and the Magic series, both Game 6 and Game 7. So I will be right back after this short break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.